guys, welcome back to the Evolution of the Beast podcast. Today we are going to be talking about setting up a personal training business or an online coaching business, right? We're going to dive a little bit into behind the scenes of being an entrepreneur and give you guys a little bit of advice as far as that goes. We've had a little bit of a break here. We've been really busy. We've had a lot of things going on.
New clients, new things going
on. The last couple of weeks we've been a little too busy to find time to get together to do this. So want to apologize for that, but we're back and we got some really good tips for you guys. I think I get this all the time. I get questions about like, where do I begin as a trainer or as a coach, or they just want to get something going and they just don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. And that was one of the main reasons I started my mentorship program, just to give back and kind of teach people things that I had to literally pull my hair out in the process of learning. I had to make mistakes. I had to do things the hard way, learn the hard way. I had to take some losses. And I had a ball in the budget for a long time to really get something going. So I understand the struggle. I understand how hard it can be and how frustrating it can be, especially if you really want to get into it and your heart's in a good place and you actually want to do this because you care. So I'm just going to let Nate give you guys a few tips because he went through my mentorship program. I helped him get his business up and going and kind of gave him the tips and sat down and gave him, saw my lessons and everything, little things that I like to teach. And he's been learning from me every week. So, I think it's awesome to see his business growing and just kind of, continue to add clients to his roster. I tell him this all the time, but it makes me happy for him because, I don't want to take anything away from him because, I may have helped him, but, he did the work. He could have very easily have taken everything I, said and just, did fuck all with it. So he actually put in the work, and he got up, he wanted to do it, he went out and he got it, so it's continuing to grow for him. So it makes me proud of him, and it makes me, excited to see it and happy for him. So I'm gonna let you take form and tell him a little bit about the mentorship program. I guess just kind of give him a rundown on like how we went about it, questions and concerns, like maybe fears that you had in the beginning, and then just kind of how it, all came together for you.
Absolutely. So first, I just want to say, when Cody says he's proud of me, like that's genuine, and that's what you want to look for in a mentor, is not someone who's just gonna pat you on the back, say good job, and then turn around and dismay it. But Cody's genuine about it, like he's always cheering me on. So look for authenticity, number one, as a mentor. But to start it off, I had personal training experience, not as an entrepreneur. I had it in my early 20s working for a gym. So I had experience, but I didn't have any knowledge on an entrepreneurship.
Totally different, huh?
Yes. So I had watched Cody for several months before I talked to him. I knew he wore his heart on his sleeve, and he was genuine about what he was doing. He wasn't in it to make money. He was in it to change lives, and that's why I wanted to get back into it. So when I finally reached out to him, I said, "Hey, man, I've got a few questions. This is the direction I want to go, but I don't want to work for another gym, and I'm completely lost. Do you mind if I get some advice from you?" Not even knowing he offered the mentorship yet. And he reached back out to me within 5 minutes, and we started talking, and literally, as soon as I went through the mentorship program, like everything changed. I went from blank paper and scribbles to this, and this is what I need to do. And we laid all the framework out, stopped pulling my hair out, and stopped hesitating. I quit my job, and I went full-fledged, like 3 months, no work. This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to succeed at, no ifs, ands, or buts. But he literally walked me through step by step and didn't overwhelm me, didn't give me a bunch of information and then say, okay, good luck. Like he checked on my weekly. How was my status? What was my progress? What did you get done?
I like to assign homework.
Yes.
I do that even with clients that I coach and posing clients and stuff. I give you something small for us to work on, and then once we perfect it, we move on, right? I feel like you can overwhelm somebody, and sometimes I feel like I do when I go into my spill because there's a lot to say in the beginning, but it's like you said, it's just like, I want you to be over-prepared rather than under-prepared, because it's like, a lot of the things, especially that I teach in my first lesson, it's like, those are things that I learned the hard way. So I want you to absorb all this, use it, right? Because I had a lot of rough start in the beginning. Like there were a lot of times where I was like questioning myself. There's a lot of days of self-doubt. Hell, I still do, and I'm doing well. But I think that is what makes you, you're going to be good. I tell you this all the time. You're going to be good at it because you're hungry for more knowledge. You're hungry for ways to continue to perfect what you do. Like that's how you get better, man. It really is. Like I think, I still have those days where I'm kind of like, man, like, what can I do better? Like I feel like I'm falling short in this area, right? So you got to be like that sometimes to really you got to be able to self-reflect in order to continue to advance, especially in a career field that's always adapting. There's always new things coming out. You're always going to learn something new, especially every time I work with a different client, and I might learn a thing or two from working with that client because it's challenged me to think in a different way. Because it might be like, all right, well, this is kind of how I normally go about things with people in this situation. And I'll hit them with it, and they might respond totally different. I'm like, okay, well, then let's try maybe doing this. It's like, it's a different puzzle with every client, right? And no puzzle's ever going to be the exact same. So that's one thing that I like to teach in the beginning, and then just like getting everything started, because I feel like that's where people just overthink it. It's just like, what do I do, right? And I want to backtrack for a second, because you said you only had scribble on paper. He was actually already going. He had a logo, he had a name, he had an idea, and that's one of the first things that I got to teach a lot of people. So a lot of people who sit there with me, they don't have anything, so they have scribble on paper. He had a blueprint, right? It's just, it wasn't finalized, and there were a lot of holes in it that I helped fill in for you. So a lot of it is just getting a logo and a name for your business that represents you. Right? Like, don't replicate someone else, man. Be you. Be genuinely you, and people will follow you, man. It's just one of those things where, like, I'm never going to step out of the shoes that I am. Like, my shoes, like, this is who I am. Stay true to you, and, your people will come to you, man. It's just like, you found me, and all my clients always find me, man, because I put stuff out. Like you said, you've been watching me on social media, you've been watching me around the gym. Like, I'm just me. And people like that. Like, I don't act like someone else, And I think that's what a lot of people do. They try to, maybe replicate somebody else's business or whatever they're doing. They're looking at somebody, and I'm not saying they're like copying or anything, but they take that and they almost try to make their shoes fit, right?
Yes.
And it's like, I'm a size 10 and you're trying to fit into a size 10, but you're a size 12. Like,
right.
Bro, get your own shoes, wear your own shoes, be your own person. Like, handle business how you want to handle it, and that's how people are. They're going to be like, dang, like, look at what he's doing. Like, I like what he stands for. I like what he's doing. I like how he is, and they're going to come to you, man. It's not one of those things where, like, and like, you might be my mentee, but, like, I don't want you to coach the way that I do. Like, I want you to have your own approach and, like, go about things the way that you do, And I don't mind filling in the gaps for you sometimes, answering questions, but it's like, in the end of the day, man, you're never going to be me. You're going to be you, right? And that's why I tell people, I'm like, dude, like, be yourself, and, like, people are going to come, right?
So everything, and on that subject, everything I learned from you and constantly learn from you on a weekly basis. I don't copy Cody. I take it, I absorb the knowledge. I might do some research off my own time on it and be like, okay, well, I also found this. And I pointed out a couple things. I'm like, hey, did you know this on what you're talking about?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, no, I didn't know I had that.
Yeah, so, I'm not above admitting when I don't know something. It's like, wow, that is new.
But I will apply my own knowledge and research to it and then applicate it to my own style.
Yep.
And the one thing, like you said, fitting in shoes, I can't stand is, and this is why I picked Cody, someone portrays an image on social media, but then they don't live the lifestyle that they portray. And that to me is just someone who's in it for the money. They're not in it to help better or change someone's life.
And that's one of the things I'm certain on too, man. Like, with me, what you see is what you get. And I know, everybody, especially, man, like, whenever you're in this industry with, surrounded by, some people can be very negative and say things about you that aren't true, and they try to, like, because in the end of the day, it's like, it's not really a product, it's your reputation, right? It's like, people try to cut you down. Like there'll be a lot of negativity in the beginning, especially if you want to get into this full time. Like, you're going to deal with that. I think a lot of it is just kind of ignoring it, man, and just staying true to you, like I said, and doing your thing and being confident in what you're capable of. Because it's just like what you were telling me, man. It's like, yeah, I've taught you a lot. I mean, you've taught me things. But I'm like, I mean, hell, you just taught me about the HDMI connector. I'm like, I'm not a computer nerd by any means, but I've been buying monitors and like trying to just deck out my home station so that way I can be super efficient as a coach. I mean, I didn't fucking know that. I'm not above admitting that. It's like, wow, all right, cool, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Like, and you've also taught me other things about supplements, man. I think, there's so many supplements, there's so many, different, ways to do exercises, different ways to write a diet plan. Like, there's just so much. Like, you can't know it all.
No.
You're going to kind of constantly learn something new all the time. And like I said, every now and then too, you might learn something that, you got in your pocket, and then you might get a genetic outlier come to you, and it's just like, what the fuck? I've never seen anybody react like this to this. It's like, this can't even, like, I can't even fathom that this is true, but it is. It's like, it's going to happen.
That's
so,
like, I told you, I can't eat vegetables when you write my diet plan.
Yeah, I've never had a client like that.
Right.
I've had clients that can't eat certain ones because it makes them gassy. Things like that. But yeah, I've never had anything like that. And so it's like, you're always going to find those variables that kind of, whoa, I've never. And it's just like, I didn't learn about this in school in my nutrition program.
Right.
It's just like, I think a lot of it's just learning and being able to think for yourself and having the ability to, research and find things out. And also, man, ask. Like, I ask people questions all the time. Like, I ask Chris and Alex questions all the time. I ask my coaches questions. Like, like with posing, like with everything. I'm always trying to learn something new for my own benefit, also for me to teach my people. It's kind of one of those career fields you sign up for. You're just forever a student. There's not, you go to one course and it's like, oh, here's everything that I need to know.
Yes.
It's like, you gotta kind of continue to add to that tool belt that you have, that toolbox. Like, you gotta have plenty of tools in your arsenal to use, right? So that's one of the things I feel like my mentorship program, I try to like teach that. It's like how to think, right? Getting something going from the ground up, starting with a name, logo, an idea, right? Like something you stand for, how you want to coach, a standard, right? Set the standard for how you want your business to be, hold yourself to it, and hold your people to it, man. It's just like Nate said, like, if I set a standard and he sees me acting outside of that, like, you're not really going to respect me very much, are you?
Right.
I mean, it's just kind of how it is. Like, if I'm like, you got to hit your water intake goal for the day, and you see me walking around without any water, it's kind of hypocritical, right? Like, so it's one of those things. Again, set the standard, wear your own shoes, and get everything started as far as like paperwork goes. I remember we touched on that. You want to have all your legal documents, ready to go. You want to have a system that is capable of, handling as many clients as you get, right? So remember me telling you that, and you probably at the time maybe thought, that's probably not too big of a deal. Like, I don't have very many clients yet. Like, you kind of go. Now you see why I've harped on that so much, right?
Yes.
Okay. And people don't realize it's like if you don't have that ready to go, the system built for you to like hit. Because I've had months where I've signed a lot of clients once, and it's just like, holy shit, this is overwhelming. Especially in the beginning, it's like where people see that you're good at what you do and people enjoy it and they want to keep coming back. Like, you'll get other clients coming in, and you got to be able to handle your current clients and take good care of them, right? Because they've been there long. It's like you got to prioritize them. It's like they're your people, right? Take care of them. But you also got to find that time and that system of flow to add the new people in.
That's what I was going to say.
If you want to continue to grow.
If you're not proficient and you start neglecting your older clients,
They're going to leave.
they're going to leave you.
I tell people that too. I'm like, hey, it's going to take me like 5 to 7 days to get this back to you. It's like, I got to take care of my people who've been here who are checking in. So I got to handle this workload first, and then I'm going to kind of, push you to the right and find that time that I can work on your program.
Right. Because we don't do cookie cutter programs. It's
No.
custom tailored.
It takes me a while to sit down, think, and brainstorm and document. I like to take every bit of that 5 to 7 days now, and I know I mentioned on the Die Trying podcast that I had done it in 2 days before when I didn't have anything going on. It kind of like, they came to me at a perfect time, and I had 48 hours that I didn't have a whole lot going on, and I was able to work on it and front load it, and they were quick about getting back to me. But now I think the longer I do this, I realize that the longer I think on something, I'll kind of be like, oh shit, like I want to add this, you know, and I just kind of marinate in it for a minute, just to make sure it's completely final, and I turn it in, right? It's like my final draft for my college class. I write your rough draft, or your outline, your rough draft, your final copy, and you turn it in for your grade. I want to make sure I have everything in there that I've thought of, and sometimes I think I do my best thinking whenever I'm not working, right? I'm in the shower, I'm shampooing and conditioning, and then I'm just like, light bulb, right? Or I'll wake up in the middle of the night to take a piss, and I'm like, holy shit, what if we did this with Nate? And I'm like, write that down, go back to sleep. You know, it's right. It's just how my brain is, man. Sometimes when I'm like mellow and I'm not doing anything at all, a thought will hit me, right? The longer I think on something, the more I'm able to kind of, you know, piece things together. So,
and I like 5 to 7 days time frame, because I might build it, and then I might I'm gonna look through the park queue again. I'm just gonna look through the first check-in form again, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna change this.
And then we're humans, you know. You might make an error sometimes, so it's good to, you know. I always review my work. Hell, I've got in a routine now. At the end of the week, I'll go back through and review all my check-ins, and I actually do that at the end of the day. If I'm checking in with people in between clients while I'm here at work, in between my in-person clients, I'll come in here and do a check-in. When I get home, I go back over it, and I'm like, all right, let me make sure I hit this, review check-in form. But I already sent them feedback, and sometimes our clients laugh at this, but I'll circle back around to, hey, sorry, I forgot about this. Let's add that, you know what I mean? I'll make those corrections just to make sure I don't miss anything, man. Not to say it's rare for me to miss something, because I do feel like I take my time. I'm very focused. I have my notes and my spreadsheet set up. You know, every now and then you might think of something different too, like after the fact, you know. So I'll circle back around, hit that, and make sure we're good.
But it also shows the level of commitment and attention to detail to each client.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one thing that I told you about too. Is like, you gotta take care of them, man. They're coming to you to get help, and it's a labor of love, man, right? It's a service that you're providing, a social interaction. You got to give them that social interaction. You got to make them feel like they're your only client, even though they're not. Right? You got to give them that time that they're paying for. And if you want to do that with every client, you got to have a system in order to do that. You got to have a system in order to handle all the clients. If you're just getting an email program every week, man, coach probably not taking notes the way they need to be, or collecting data. Like, if you don't have a feedback form, you're not tracking stats. Like, if you're not submitting any of this information to your coach, like, you're literally just getting a program that they just kind of like literally threw up on paper and recipied.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, to me, you know, that's something that you want to have if you want to get into this, as a system that can handle that many people and that you can keep track of, right? So, remember when, you know, we kind of talked about that, and then we got into actually applying knowledge, marketing, things like that. And that's one thing that I was talking about it to my wife the other day. You always market your way, and I love that. Like, all your graphics, everything you do business-wise, like, it has your touch to it. And that's what I meant by, like, don't step in it, like, don't try to fit in somebody else's shoes. Like, if you look at all my stuff, and it's totally different.
100%
like,
different.
The layout, the scheme, everything, it's all different. And that's what I mean, is like, you gotta find your own way. And it's totally cool to have a mentor. It's cool to have somebody to look up to. It's cool to have somebody that you want to be like, right? Because I teach Nate things all the time. Like, he wants to learn from me. He wants to do things like me, and that's cool. But it's like, don't replicate the way that I am as a person with your people. Like, be your own genuine self, because that's what they're buying into, right? They're not buying your diet that you may have, you know, when you've studied online and maybe asked you questions or whatever. They're buying into you. They trust you. They want to work with you. They want to be on your team.
It has to scream your personality.
Yes, that's one thing that I'm stern on. It's like, find your niche, right? Like, find who you are, and your people are going to come your way. So, if you had to say one thing that I taught you that you felt like you just were missing, like the key piece that you're like, holy shit, like, this is probably most important, what do you think it would be?
Easy.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I struggled with and had lack of knowledge on was all the legal forms.
Okay.
Holy cow, that overwhelmed me. Like, I mean, you got me through it. You made me understand it.
Yep.
The legality of everything.
Yep.
Guys, if you don't take care of that, you are setting yourself up.
Yep, and that's something that I had to learn hard in the beginning too. It's one of those things where every business has it. In any actual business that you go to. Personally, what I thought came to mind, and it kind of ties into what you're saying that I've taught you too, is like you have to treat your business like a business, and you have to respect it. Otherwise, how are you going to expect your clients to? Right? That's why I do contracts for the group agreements, because that lays out what I'm going to provide for you and what you're going to provide for me being a client. Right? Like it's very Sally. There's no you get close with people, right? It's a social interaction, so there's got to be a guideline there for you to follow for whenever situations get sticky. And I think a lot of people just they don't treat it like a business, right? It's a very laid back form of business. Don't get me wrong, we're not lawyers, we don't come in suits, we're not doctors, we're not, insert any other title there where it's like more professional of a service. But you have to be professional and you have to treat it like a business. You have to respect your own business and your own standard, otherwise your clients aren't going to, right? You have to set that tone. And then they'll fall in line, basically. I'm not saying you have to be rude or be a dick or anything like that, but you have to have that framework for them to fall into and know, hey, this is serious. You know what I mean? I have to follow these guidelines. Like, this is what he has said. You have to stick with it. You have to stick to it.
Yes, or they won't respect it.
Yep. It's just like 24-hour cancellation policy, like things like that, man. You have to establish that early on, so that way you're able to manage incoming clients, right? Because if you're just letting people cancel last minute and making up sessions and all the time, eventually, you're not going to have any more time within a week for those makeup sessions, right? So that's one of the things, is just establishing the framework, the groundwork, holding yourself to that standard. I think probably another thing people struggle with is just marketing, right? I feel like you've done a really good job at that. So do you have any tips on what you would give a beginner, somebody like in your shoes, right? No business. Let's say they don't have a logo, they don't have a name. What would you give them as a piece of advice on how to get started?
So I think the biggest thing that helped me was before I launched the business, I had the ideas and I had the tips from Cody, but I would sit there and I would compile and make all these marketing materials. That way I wasn't in business and then trying to get clients and then trying to advertise. I had a whole folder already pre-built, and I might have, before I loaded it, I might have tweaked something, but I had all my marketing material already laid out in a folder, and I had that stockpiled. So I think that was the biggest thing that helped me and keeps me ahead of schedule on advertising, is just having all that pre-done. It's going to help out tremendously, and then you're not going to stress out and be like, I didn't advertise today, but I got to do this still. And, well, shit, I don't have time to make an advertisement. I don't have the time to make a reel.
And I think Nate is seeing what I was saying now. His time is starting to get thin. He doesn't have as much free time as he used to, because he's getting more clients. I love to see that, but now you see why I said you got to be prepared. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. You got to be ahead of the game. So I think that's some awesome tips. I think that's good right there, man. So just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching. We hope this helps. If you guys are interested in my mentorship program, reach out. If you guys are interested in training or coaching, reach out to me and Nate. We also have other awesome trainers here at Carbon Borough. So come in, sit down, pick a trainer that works for you. Obviously we're all different. We all have our different personalities.
Different styles.
We definitely have the best trainers in Middle Tennessee here. I'll argue with anybody on that. So if you guys are interested in in-person training, definitely come in. Meet with any of our trainers. I know we're pretty much all accepting clients, I believe. I'm full on in-person training at the moment. I may have a spot open up soon, but come in if you're interested in coaching and you just maybe want to get a session in every now and then. Do we have any big announcements for Carmen right now? Don't we have an event coming up? Thought we did.
That's a good question.
I
I need
just
to do a
want.
little research.
Yeah, I do know that we are running sales on supplements all the time. I know you
Yep.
guys love our commercials, so
Every
check them
single
out.
week is a new brand product. So
And if you guys do, have any requests on what you want to listen to, or what you guys want us to answer, or anything, shoot us a DM and we'll cover it for you guys.
thanks, guys.
Mm.